Now we cross over to the entertainment industry, where the Kenya Film and Classification Board has actually launched an African KFCB, hashtag KFCB African Folktales launch, and our reporter Timothy Kipnusu is on ground to just tell us what has happened and what is going to happen in as far as the local entertainment industry is concerned following this particular launch. Good afternoon, Kipnusu.
To you, Regina Manyara, there at the broadcasting house. Yes, indeed, just as you've mentioned, I'm coming to you live from Hilton Hotel, where Kenya Film Classification Board is overseeing the launch of an animated film from Professor Egara Kabaji, a film that is tailored at promoting local content. Remember, at least 2% of the content that is shown in the world, it's coming from Africa, and that is a very something that needs to be worked on. And I'm joined by the Chief Executive Officer of Kenya Film Classification Board, Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, just to paint a picture of this particular day, what it means to the film industry. Many things indeed, Professor, Dr. Mutua, joining us in KBC Channel 1. Perhaps you can crack the bone about this particular day and what it means in promoting the animated films, particularly for children, to ensure that we do not have harmful content for our children.
Thank you very much, Timothy. First of all, let me say how grateful I am to Professor Egara Kabaji here. Professor Egara Kabaji worked with KBC for many years. He ran a program called Books and Bookmen for 14 years running. And so he's an icon, a trailblazer in his own right. And just to put this in perspective, we are here to launch his productions of animated films based on African folktale. And that means African stories, African folktale animated into film that gives our children the right perspectives about our Africanness, our Kenyanness, and therefore instead of them aping the West, reading Harry Potter and other foreign literature, to also understand that Africans have their own culture, because we have a challenge where our children are only imitating heroes from the West, heroes from America, from Europe, forgetting that we have our own heroes here. We just saw in the animated film, in the production that Professor Egara Kabaji has done, a hero called Muhonji. And when you look at the character of Muhonji, it's a character that our children can relate with in their own environment. So that the stories of heroes are not just white people, decent people are not just white, great people are not just white. Even professors and scholars and great men of the book must not be just from other countries. We appreciate them and we read a lot about Shakespeare, Chinua Achebe. But we also have our own Professor Egara Kabaji. And we have our own Dr. Ezekiel Mutua. We have our own David Mulwa. We have our own, local writers and great people. And so we want to tell our kids, focus on your own. Look at your environment. Your environment defines who you are. You cannot be defined by Western values because you are not living that life in reality. And so when you ape those foreign cultures, you end up contaminating your mind. So what the professor has done today, working with us and allowing us to launch this film, is filling a gap that has been there, where when KFCB bans certain content, then we are not giving an alternative. So if we say this is bad, we don't have sufficient content, local content, to say you don't watch this, but watch this. And professors come in with the Egara Kabaji animated films based on African folklore that will tell about our African stories and narratives that will encourage our kids to relate with our culture and our values.
Where you sit as the Chief Executive Officer of Kenya Film Classification Board, perhaps you can tell us what we need to do as a country to ensure that we have so much of this local content.
Thank you very much, Kipnusu there, keeping up with what is happening during this launch. Remember, now KFCB has also is working with the music industry players to put together an award platform to award musicians and film producers who support clean content campaign. The artist may as well get 1 million shillings. This is according to Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, who is the CEO of the Kenya Film and Classification Board. This is just the launch of African folktales, animated folktales there to just help put push the African agenda, stories told to better suit us as Africans. Well,